We need insurance to protect victims no matter who shoots a gun. We need insurance to be in place for all guns, even the illegal and stolen ones. This video shows how to accomplish that goal. Specific kinds of insurance requirements can do this. Whether you want more good guys with guns or to have all guns destroyed, one can get behind reducing the gun carnage in the United States. There is an overlooked tool that can make a major contribution to that goal. Hello, I'm Tom Harvey, and I believe that tool is a requirement that guns be covered by insurance that will protect victims, survivors, and all of us. We must have protection no matter who shoots a gun. The owner may not be the shooter. If you have guns at home, your kids will find them, and 500,000 guns are stolen every year. In many of the cases, the owner has given permission for use of the gun, but doesn't accept responsibility for what happens with it. Most of the guns seized by the police were legally bought by someone who then illegally passed them on to someone else. A gun insurance system that's linked to specific guns rather than to specific owners or shooters will be able to address these cases. Just as it shouldn't depend on negligence on the part of the owner, it shouldn't depend on who does the shooting. It can apply to the young person with his parents' guns who goes to a mass school shooting and to a criminal drive-by with a gun from a straw purchase. To do this, we need a way to identify the insurer that is responsible for a particular gun. There needs to be a database accessible after an incident, a database which identifies the responsible insurer. This can serve two purposes: allowing a claim to be made and allowing confirmation that insurance is in place for the gun. There is no need to identify the gun owner in that database. It can bypass most of the privacy concerns by gun ownership supporters such as the NRA, but the database can list the serial numbers of guns wanted by law enforcement, whether or not they are insured. Other gun data, such as model, maker, and date of manufacture, can be included as a check. If other specific identifiers are required, then they can be also included. This might include scans or signatures of projectiles or casings from the gun when these things are required. Entities in the database would be added by insurers. The insurer's identity and dates of responsibility should be available to anyone who has gun identification information such as a serial number. An example of use of this data is at a venue such as a shooting range or hunting ground. The serial number of a gun brought to the venue can be checked against a public interface to the data, giving confirmation that all guns on the premises are insured. It can be used by law enforcement to determine that a firearm encountered by an officer is legal. Permits to carry guns or take them into specific places can require checking of the entry of allowed firearms. Insurance coverage by the gun addresses the third of the three principles needed for effective protection of gun victims. The principles are direct payment to injured persons, no-fault coverage, and covering all guns. But required insurance needs to work differently than insurance that is purchased by owners for their own protection. The point here is to protect anyone who gets hurt. Just because it is the owner who in most cases, that is the party responsible for buying coverage, is not a sufficient reason to exclude the most dangerous shootings. The needs of injured persons and bereaved survivors don't depend on the relation of the weapon to the finger that pulls the trigger. Insurance is most needed when the gun is stolen or picked up by an unauthorized person. This principle also facilitates immediate and broad medical care and financial help. There is no need to find out or litigate the details of what happened. just that a covered gun was involved. If the gun is not in the database or there is no coverage, there can be an uninsured pool system with contributions from all insurers. These would be similar to the uninsured workers' funds and the uninsured vehicle funds in most states. It is important that there not be too many claims against the funds in order to protect the integrity of the system. This means that we need for most guns to have the insurance. This system also allows for a good way to have the vast majority of guns covered. Homemade guns and smuggled guns are increasingly worrisome, but steps are being made on several levels to reduce that danger. The bulk of guns start out legally, with manufacturers distributing them through gun dealers. That is where insurance should start. Manufacturers and importers can be required to have insurance, and this can be enforced without involving the general public. Then we need one more step. It is to require that when a gun changes hands, the old insurer doesn't relinquish responsibility until a new insurer takes over. The database described above can track this chain of responsibility. If it's solid, only ghost guns and guns illegally imported into the jurisdiction will depend upon the uninsured gun pool. Of course, criminals and irresponsible persons in general won't buy insurance. That is one of the objections to required gun insurance offered by skeptics. But the old insurer from the last legal owner will still be on the hook. A recent report by the ATF shows a median time from legal purchase of a gun to seizure as a crime gun is just a little over 3 years. Even if no effort is made to bring existing guns into the system, in a few years the majority of shootings will be with insured guns. We want the insurers to be responsible for lost and stolen guns, because that is where much of the danger lies. This will also give them an incentive to press their clients to maintain control of covered weapons. It certainly isn't a bad thing if insurers stop people from leaving guns unlocked on top of nightstands or under couches or car seats. Insurers will have a stake in stopping straw purchases as well. Such purchases where a legal gun buyer passes a background check and then turns the gun over to a disqualified person are the largest single source of crime guns. In summary, a good system for required gun insurance will cover all gun injuries and apply to all the guns in circulation, legal or illegal. A well-designed system will do that in an efficient way and provide for checks to prove that it's in place. If you support a requirement for gun insurance, please subscribe to this channel. It will increase the exposure of these videos. Then watch the next video. More importantly, support this idea out in the world. Tell your friends. Become an activist about gun insurance or about some related topic and bring gun insurance into it. Write your congressperson. Take over the dinner table. If enough people do that, we'll move toward safety and a lot of lives will be saved.